Good afternoon. How are you? How is everybody? Welcome to another attempt at doing an online webinar through Facebook, I should say. So let's just hope that we don't have any troubles today and that we're getting the sound out even though I can't hear it, because I'm trying to get levels and everything right. I'm still experimenting with all this stuff, but in the end I hope that it translates to a video that's slightly watchable and helpful. So today we're going to have a little bit of a chat about reports and other things we need to do when it comes to the end of a financial year. We're going to cover sales reports, customer outstanding reports, sub-agent outstanding reports, and some stock valuations. So I'll get right to it. Probably the first thing you'll find yourself doing is a takings report from the end of day section under the takings report tab. So that's just up here. Let's have a look. Let's just have a look. So we're interested in this section up here. Okay, I've got this on the wrong screen. I'll just be a second while I move this across. Okay, we're back on board, I think. Okay, we'll try that. Okay, so yes, I'm experimenting with these new scan controls, so bear with me for a tick.
Click on load save for us.
You have to excuse me for a moment. That's started again. Maybe I'm faffed a bit too far. Sorry, I'll really professional. I'm just trying a new app today, so I'm hoping this will make things a little bit more easier to see. Okay, so we've got a takings report tab. And that's not the highlight. So takings report tab. Okay. Okay, up the top there. So we probably won't have that much trouble with the pointer for the rest of the day, but we'll see how we go. So the takings report tab, which is in the side menu under end of day and under the takings report tab. And at the moment I've got it set to all shops, and I've set the date you'll see to be between the 1st to the 7th and the 30th of the 6th, and that's not going to work because we need to make that the 2016, that's which I've done so far. Alright, so we can include a dissection breakup. We're probably not going to want an hourly breakup on a yearly report. We can have a payment breakup, which we might do, dollar breakup, which we'll leave for now, show check breakup, we don't, or we can do it, and show deliveries if we want to show deliveries. So all we do for this report is we come down to the bottom here and we generate a report. And that report will come out in an A44 format. A4, not A44. It will take a minute because it goes through all the data for a year, and it will outline everything in each dissection, each department, and it'll take in the sales, it'll take in any payouts, and it'll get a lot of information that we'll go through shortly.
Is that the one at the top there?
We're up to page 12, so we should be ready to see what we're going to see. So here you'll see there's a breakup of your sales here. So we've got books, obviously explains itself. how many voids there's been there over the year, how many discounts, how many times we've sold things at a discount. Number of transactions, 96, so not a huge year for books in this case. Then we've got cards and everyday wrap, cigarettes, clearance stocks, and so on and so forth. And each dissection will give us its taking for the year and the GST liability. We go through here, you can see that for each different dissection. It makes it all pretty clear for the dissection wise. And then we come to the end of the report, and we've got our payment breakup from other cards, Visa, Cash, EFTPOS, MasterCard. I mean, most of you in this case is for your will probably be using other cards, Visa, EFTPOS, MasterCard. You'll be combining those because you probably all run them through your EFTPOS anyway. The reason they would come up is because your staff have been using the Visa option or the MasterCard option, which is fine if that's what you want. Okay. Then we've got checks. We don't take checks here, thank you very much. And then we come to the last page, or the last couple of pages. Now you'll see here at the top, you've got a summary of extras, including your voids, your discounts, any refunds you've done throughout the year, and payouts. So the payouts being whenever you've used the payout feature in the register. As we come down, we can see the individual transactions. So we've had nearly 500,000 transactions. Total transactions, so individual transactions are each line of the transaction, and the total transaction is when you've combined them into the same thing. Okay, then we've got a rounded total, less previous deposits if you put any money in the system from before, and then you've got that total with the rounding difference, so that's how much you've done in rounding for the year, and then you've got an unrounded total, which is just including those or taking up the. Okay, so sales transactions, grounded round sales, non-profit sales for the year, sales that you might have refunded, sales total, so 3,188,089. Number of invoices, invoices total 1,370. So these invoices are charged to accounts. Number of credits to an account, and payments in total for those outstanding. So we've been paid nicely for everything that we got there for the year. Then we head down a bit. And then you've got your net total sales for register and customer and lay-by, so that's for accounts and everything else. So you'll see register, accounts, and lay-by above here. And then you've got the non-profit sales and the profit sales. And then again, that's all broken down at the bottom here, where you can see the difference between your GST-free payments, transactions you need to pay tax on, and your full GST liability, including the breakup of what wasn't in the GST, being the GST exempt stuff, and which is basically your lotto and a few other things. And then we're coming to the next page, where we've got the takings for all shops, include liability and everything else. Again, the total cash in, the total EFTPOS in, which you'll have to combine. You can see here it's a combination of cards already. And that will basically give you your...
Is anyone trying to call my phone?
Transaction stuff for the everybody's trying to call you, Franco. And we've got collected, right? No, it's a GST. So, yeah, so basically that's the takings report for a year. So from there, as we said, you get your GST liability down at the bottom of the page. You get your total transactions, and you get to your GSTS free stuff in as well. That's the first glance you would have to let you know how the year's been. Then we're going to have a look at some more reports that will give us our takings in a little bit more easy to read format. So let's go down to register reports.
Sure, no one there has picked up a phone.
And in register reports, we've got a few different reports that we can choose from. We've got dissection sales profitability for a given period. That's usually a popular one. That's in, we'll go through it again in the side menu under cash register and under register reports. And then if we haven't already saved it to our favourite up the tops here, we can come down to customers, transactions, that's a different one we'll look at in a minute. We'll come to sales, and then you've got your dissection sales for a given period. So under this report, we can put in the details of when we want our transactions to start, and we want them to finish, obviously, on the 30th of June, or we'll do once we get past that date. In your reporting, you may want to only include the stuff that's from inside the shop, so you wouldn't be using, you might not want to include your business sales in one set of reporting, or your customer account sales, or if you've got multiple stores, you'll understand what stock transfer sales are, but you might not want to include them in these reports. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a straight out account sales, business sales, delivery fees, and sub-agent delivery sales. I know this database doesn't have any, but we could include them. Now, I might want to include my GST collected in the totals, or I may not. In this case, I'm going to do so. I could break it down and just do a number of different dissections at once, but because of the nature of this report, it's actually quite good to do it, the whole thing in one go. So we're going to go to View Report. And that will take a little while.
Have you been onto the website before?
If you have any questions or anything that you would need any help with besides what we go through today, obviously give the office a call, and we'll run you through any extra information you might need. I'm not going to bore you with a whole lot of different reports today. I'm going to show you the main ones, maybe a couple of extras that some people like to get a bit of extra information. But yeah, if you need more, just give the office a call and we'll run through it. Plus, you can see that it's going to take a moment to generate these reports, so we don't want to just stand here listening to my voice all afternoon. If you do, write me a note, because that would be a first time experience for me. I'm kidding. It's brought to you by Not Go. Just typing up that you can leave a message in the comments or a question, and move me into something else. That's just below or on the side of the video. Okay, we're just waiting for this report to come through. As I said, it can take some time, especially if you're doing everything for a year through every department, which is what we want. I hope the video isn't sketchy or scratchy today. I've moved up a rung in computers. Before I was doing it in an office, so you might hear my fellow colleagues around me today, but I needed to test a faster computer because there has been some mentions that the videos so far have been a little bit hard to watch and a little bit sketchy. So So as I said, if you have any questions or comments while we wait for these reports to come up, you can ask me in the comments, and I can see them now, so I can answer any questions you might have. Thanks for coming and checking things out today. So yeah, let's move on. Okay, so we're getting back to our report now, which is open. You'll see my little tool on the side, which I'll move out of the way. And that basically is the breakdown of each dissection with the corresponding information for the year. So let's go through this information and what we've got. All right, have I got the pen? No, I don't got the pen. One day later.
Surely it can't be me.
Okay.
They wouldn't have that
So-
to get in touch with me. They just walk over to my desk.
You'll see here.
Yeah, these are the ones that
In
we give. So
here we can look at, for instance, cards and wrap sensations, or everyday. So there's two different departments here, but we're looking here at the quantity of sales, which will give us a figure for the amount of sales in that particular dissection, which is around 109,000. The GST liability for that, the total that was scanned, the 109, so all the cards were scanned, the total cost of all those items. Then once we have the total cost, we can get to the gross profit of standing, and there's the gross profit, 68,421, with an average turn of 650 on each item. And then we've got 100% scan, which is great. 68% top profit. Group, I'd have to come back to you on that one, and the total of the whole business of how much that's done. So that's pretty easy to understand, and your accountant will appreciate that, we hope. If there's any more information that they would like, obviously let us know. Just a few things to note here, which I'll show you how to fix momentarily. You'll see here that you've got some items that are negative. So you've got some negative here, negative here. Now, that's lotto prizes and instant prizes, so they're payouts. So that's money coming out of the system in order for you to obviously pay for the lotto stuff. That's fine. I'm thinking valuation reports, so we don't have to actually worry about that. That's actually what it should be, and that will be correctly reflected here in the totals down at the bottom. Now, you might have a little bit of difficulty believing some of these results sometimes, because maybe the data in your system hasn't been completely taken care of properly. There might be things that are set to the wrong GST figure, or they might be in the wrong department or the wrong dissection. And this is where you can start to break things down to figure out what might be going wrong. So for instance, if I take these cards and wraps seasonal, I can double click on that, and that's going to do what's called drill down, hopefully, if there's not too, that might have been too large one, and it's going to give me the shop name. So if I had multiple shops, it would show me the cards and wraps seasonal by the shop. But in this case, I want to actually see the results within the actual dissection. So I'm going to click on the shop where I'm interested in that, and then you'll see that come along shortly.
Yeah, and then I can show you how you put this off file. But for now, yeah, that's the only way to change it now. Yeah, because you brought the invoice in, so...
Sorry, I've got a new
if the
pen
invoice had the
and
barcodes on it, it would have
playing
been
here while we wait.
didn't have the barcodes properly.
That should be up shortly. Again, if you haven't seen in the actual comments, comment here if you would like to ask the question. Okay. Okay, so now I can see all the different items that are in under that dissection. And again, I can see their sales and I can see their profits. So if you want to know who's doing well and what from each dissection, that's where you need to go. So that's our dissection sales profitability for a given year. So along with the takings report, that's the way to check that your information is okay. We'll leave it at that report for the moment, and I'll close that off. So again, actually before I do, we're just covering what we did here. Again, we've got all the dissections that give us a total of our sales and our takings, and then we might want to break that down to just cards to have a look inside cards. We go into there, which will show us the actual items that are within that dissection itself and the takings for each. So this is where you can start to look for things like, is there anything in the GST column on each line? So especially for cards, there should be. So if you see that there's not, then that's a start to letting you know where your GST settings might be incorrect in the system. You can export this view, obviously, for your accountant, or you can export the whole thing. So from the preview screen, I can click on this this little envelope up the top here. You'll see under there, which is actually probably under your live signal. Let me move that down a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's do that again. You've got this little button here which has got like an envelope on it, and that's where you can open that up and you can save it as Excel, Word or HTML4. If you want to email it, I believe if you've got Outlook installed, you'll have an option there to do it as an email, but you'd probably most likely want to do it as Excel because it'll break it up into the applicable columns for you. Okay, so that's that report. So let's get out of there. So some other reports that you might be interested in for the end of year. You've got your dissection sales, GST and government rebates for a period, so you can check on them and get those figures straight away. GST summary for a given period, so we can come in here. Again, it's remembered what I've done from last time, and then I'm going to go into view report. I'm going to select a shop, and here we go. So that'll go through, so that'll take a moment. So that goes through, it tells you how many your GST payable for the year, your exempt sales for the year, and your GST free sales for a year. So your free sales would probably be things like obviously milk and bread, if you're selling it, or Tats Lotto, and some of the electronic products as well. So that gives you your grand total of all your sales and the GST amount from that. So if there's been any account sales, so 1,300 in this case, with a total of 1,300 and a GST payable amount of 118. So that is pretty straightforward, I believe. And if we want to go back to get the non-profit dissection report at the bottom and purchases, so straight away you know where your GST liability is basically. Okay, let's have a look. What other reports have we got? Sales comparison for a given period. That's when you want to start comparing year to year, but we won't go there today. Yeah, and we're going to come through in a moment to the valuation. So basically, from what we've covered so far, in the end of day, we've gone to the takings report, and for the takings report, we generated that, which gave us a nice A4 group of sheets, which is like basically a summary for everything. When we wanted to double check on those reports and basically get different things that we can hand on to our accountant, we came into register reports. I started off in sales. I went straight to dissection sales for a given period, which gave us that nice drill down report where we could have a look at where our takings have been. We also had a quick chat about the GST government rebates for a certain period, and the GST summary for a certain period. Okay. All right, let's move on to the stock valuation. Now, the stock valuation is really only going to be accurate if you've completed or done some stock taking recently. I'm going to present a video in the next couple of days. I'll just load it up to Facebook about going about doing a stock take and getting the best out of your stock take, and how to get the accurate results, and what to do with the results you get from your stock take, obviously. But a few things, but today I'll take you through evaluation reports, assuming that you've done your stock taking recently. Okay, let's have a look. Under stock valuation, under stock valuation, you'll see here there's a group of reports that basically tell you what's going on with your valuation. Now, you'd probably just go to valuation report, including retail, for Excel. You can do it by supplier if you want, or the shop, by location. Again, valuation report by section, family and class, stock health report, and so on. Let's do a valuation report detailed and best cost. So this valuation report is basically going to tell us all the stock that we have, again, assuming that we've done a proper stock take recently. So we've got a stock valuation of now. You can choose to do it as of the 31st of June, once that date has passed. The stock selection criteria, we're looking at all stock lines at the moment. We're not going to knock any out, and we're looking at all suppliers. So let's just go through. Let's exclude the zero stock on hand items because we're not interested in them right now, and go for a view report. Basically, by excluding the zero stock on hand, you're not going to fill the report with a whole lot of lines with stuff that hasn't got stock. Now, the stock valuation report will include items that have got less than zero, though, to tell you basically that there's something where you've either had those books, you haven't invoiced them into the system or something along those lines, but you've sold them, which would end you up with negative on hand. There are things in the system that you don't invoice in. Obviously, your let's say instant tickets. Let's see if this data has any instant tickets. We've got to find a button here. We can go. No, that's an instant one. That's not what we're interested in. Okay, so we haven't got it. So there's nothing really showing that one, but but we'll go through this anyway. So under the stock valuation report, you get a obviously you get the first of all you get the name of the stock, the shop that it's from, excuse me, and so on and so forth. Okay, I'll get used to this eventually. Okay, so we've got the name of the item, the dissection, family and class that it's in, the supplier that we mostly get it from, the supplier code, the location, which will be coming up in the stock take video that I'll show you about. Locations are really just used for stock taking. Your current stock on hand, the wholesale price that you've last accepted it at, the in-store, the average price that you've received it in up until this point, the excluding GST wholesale, the excluding in-store wholesale cost, and the excluding average, excluding GST, and whether the item actually has GST on the end. So straight away you can see, again, if this is items that don't have GST or things along those lines, you'll be able to tell very quickly what's going on. But let's get back to, I'll find something with a little bit more. So here we've got a Hinkler workbooks, right? And this is going to affect our valuation because it's in negative. You don't really want that because the valuation will yeah, it'll take the price of the item off in the negative, so your stock valuation report will actually report lower than your on hand, because you don't obviously take away stock from your on hand values. If you haven't got it, it's just zero. So the reason this might have happened, as I said, I explained before, you may not have invoiced the items in the system, or you never invoice the items in the system, you just sell them at the register, and every time you sell at the register, that was going to make the on hand go down 1, and you're going to end up with these negative values in the system. The easiest way to prevent this from happening is to know what stock you're not invoicing into the system, or invoice that stock into the system so you can open them. Okay, so if we come down to stock maintenance, and in stock maintenance there's an option here, and this will avoid those negative valuation reports in future. Basically, with stock maintenance, if it ever opens up, in stock maintenance, I should have actually looked at what that item was, but I can go back to it. No, it doesn't matter what item it is. So say it was a book at some point. So let's just type in book and just pick the first thing. Here we go, 18 guest book with pen. Okay, so this actually would usually be invoiced into the system. You can see that it was last modified on the 23rd of the 5th. But in the system, if you're not invoicing items into the system, now these would be mostly your electronic products that you sell through Touch or ePay. It might be newspapers that you're choosing not to invoice into the system. It might be a different range of things that you're just selling and you're not really worried about your intake. What you've got to do with that stock is come in and edit, and here there's an option here. This option here on the side, sales via the register do not adjust on hand figures. So you want to make sure that that's ticked, and then you just save it down the bottom. So basically what that's going to mean is that when you sell those items, it's not going to affect your on hand levels, so you're not going to end up with negative stock valuations. When you come across these reports, in the meantime, I must have closed off that report. I'll come back and we'll do that again. Shouldn't take too long. Reporting document, view report. So I think that was the second page. Oh, okay. So here, Hinkler workbooks. We'll just Hinkler workbooks. We can do that. We remember that. So under stock maintenance, if you want to fix this up without doing a stock take, we want to come in here and we want to go to the ordering tab, edit. We want to change the on-hand figures, which we do with this little option here, allow changing of on-hand figures down in the bottom here. And we want to put in your management username and password.
Whatever happened to that burn?
And that should let us in. And once it does, we can click on the thing and change that to 0, save it. So now we've fixed up the on-hand for this particular item. We can go back to our report, and we can generate that. That's just the end of day report. We'll undo that, and we'll come into register reporting document again and view it again. We'll have a look at that item again. Okay. Where was that one? I must have confused it greatly. Oh yeah, the Hinkler books, here it is, and it's gone away because I've made it a 0 on hand, and the report's not showing the 0 on hand. But the other Hinkler, I should have maybe left it at 1, and you would have seen that it was now 1 instead. So we'll change this one. the second Hinkler workbooks. Let's go. Why there's more than one Hinkler workbooks? We might have a lucky extra little thing that I'll show you in a moment.
Cal did. Okay, so you open up main work.
Okay, so the second one.
Do you want to get you onto your server, please?
Okay, so you can see on the second one here, we're coming through to the ordering tab. We're going to change that 8. Now it's remembered that I'm the management and I haven't unloaded stock maintenance yet, so it's going to let me keep doing these on hand figures. I'm going to change that to 1 and then save it. So you'll remember that from our report, we can view report again, and you'll see that that first Hinkler workbook will now be 1 instead of 8. So that's how you can go through and fix these negative ones. If you want, you do have a choice of doing it in stock edit. So there's a couple of things. Let me just find that the Hinkler books is blunt now. There's a couple of things that we'll do in stock edit in a moment. For instance, that Hinkler workbooks, you might have more than one stock item for the same item. It's been doubled up for some reason. Here's an extra bonus information on how to fix that up, unrelated to the financial year. If I go to stock editing now,
Sorry, the backup location. So the other computer is electronic night that it backs up to.
and in stock editing, I'm looking for stuff that has Hinkler in the title, and I want to merge this for using it for merging stuff. So stock merge, you'll see up here whenever you're in stock editing. If you haven't used it very much, it's a very handy tool. What you're interested in first is you're searching by stock detail or by barcode, but you're for what reason? So in this reason, we're looking for stock merging, but you always must decide what you're actually using it for. So it might usually be for stock editing. It might be for doing stuff for your website. It might be for just notes or something along those lines. But in this case, we're interested in for stock merging. We've got Hinkler here. We're going to grab everything that's got Hinkler workbooks basically in the title, and you'll see those 3 titles there. So I'm going to decide to keep one of these. Now there's nothing really that separates the 3 of them, so it doesn't matter which one I keep. So in this case, I'm just going to grab the top one, type that name in here. Now whatever I have ticked on the left here will get merged into the item that's chosen on the right here. So if I go to merge, we can see that everything will get merged into the first one. Now obviously it can't merge into itself. That's alright, we're only interested in the other 2 things merging into it. So now you'll see when I search for Hinkler workbooks again,
Do you mind if I jump on
there'll only be the one.
try and register?
Okay, so
If you right click on the start button on the front page.
that's our first thing. Now we're also going to do something else in stock edit before we leave quickly. We were looking at stock levels editing. We want to look at stock levels editing. So if I come into stock levels editing here, there's unfortunately not on hand. Oh yeah, and I'm looking for any item that's between 0 and minus, let's say 1,000. Okay, from any dissection or anywhere, and I'm going to go through, and it's found my Hinkler workbooks with a 0 on hand because I've got Hinkler in there. So let's just do that. That's going to be a bit better. So for the purposes of stock levels editing, there's 84,000 records. We might break this down. A lot of this will be old stock as well. So let's break this down into 6, for instance. So we go through, it checks the on-hand levels. So these are all 0, so that's not really helping me either. So I need to go back and maybe ask for a change there. I want to search for things that are less than 0, and it's not letting me. Okay, between minus 1,000 and 0, that's actually correct. I spoke too soon. So you'll see here there's a minus 25. So you can actually go through and all these items that have negative amounts under them. We've only found one in cigarettes there. Might need one to make a better demonstration of. Let's grab. Well, Hub Connect, I'm sure we'll have a few.
So he's asked me to step in and help you out with
Maybe
what
not.
I need to do. So, right, so how much have you got done today?
Just the one. I think you might be getting me now though.
Not bad. Good work. Yep.
Someone said that correctly. So. So anyway, we can see that there's some. If I had to search for all the 86,000, it might have shown me all of them at once, but that would have probably really slowed down the system, so I didn't want to do that. But in regards here, you can see these items with the negative stock. So what you can actually do is you can populate on hand on the local shop. We can just sit 0 here. There's a few other ways that you can do it.
Have you got the cable plugged in? Because the battery was a bit dodgy.
Okay, no, that's what you do. So basically, you can change these items with the on hand to 0,
On the desktop, all the little icons are.
and that's going to fix up your valuation reports as well. And it's also going to, basically, fix up your valuation report, and you can go through and do some other things. So, for instance, once you've got your valuation all sorted out and you've got your negatives taken care of, and you've done your stock taking and you've done all your reports, for next year you might want to start thinking about deleting some old stock. So just as another extra bonus that we haven't covered, that we wouldn't usually cover on a financial thing, you can come through here and have a look at the stock deletion tab, which is in Stock Edit, where we've just done our merging stock and our stock on hand editing. You can come to Stock Delete, and under Stock Delete you can choose as many items as 2,000, 32,000, 16,000, whatever. So I'm looking for 2,000 stock items that haven't had any anything done to them, including invoicing, sales at the register, ordering. Nothing's happened in the system with those particular stock items for 2 years. The dissection I'm going to use, say for instance, is book in this case, and I'm not going to choose a supplier. And I'm going to include stocks never used, and I'm also going to include stock with on-hand figures. I probably wouldn't do this after a stock take, because if I've done a stock take and the item still exists in the system, that means I actually have the item, so I don't want to be deleting any items with on-hand values. But in this case, I will delete stock that's got on-hand values because I haven't got my stock takes done. So if I go to search here, it's going to go through, as I said, and find everything in books that hasn't been invoiced into the system, sold at the register, or ordered for as many as 2 years. Now this might take a moment, so we'll wait a moment.
So, just quickly, what happened to that laptop? That turned off again or something?
Go into the main menu.
Give you some spots while we wait. Spots are always
System
fun.
maintenance.
What's it? Yellow, nice colour. Should we go with a different
Local
colour?
machine setup.
Green. Green might be easy. We can just set this up as a twist again.
Oh, okay, so maybe
Okay, so you can see here that we've found all these items, and all these items will say when their last activity was over here on the in this aisle here. So 17th of the 6th, 2015, 28th of the 2nd, 2014. So basically no action or nothing's happened with this stock item in 2 years. So that's 624 items found in 39.7 seconds. So what I can actually do is I can click on check all, and that's going to tick all of these ones, and then I can just go back to delete. And
On Monday, I
9 of the items have on-hand figures. If I look a quick look here, it doesn't really matter because it's been that long. So if I'm not going to sell it in 2 years, I'm not going to probably sell it. So you can see that this, the 624 items have now been deleted. So that's how you would go through. I would start to search again, and I could go through and delete items that I don't have in the system, which again is going to fix up my valuation reports. Okay, so again, I'll have a look at my comments here. No one's made any requests or anything, so I'll soldier on to the next topic and finish up soon. So basically we're going to be looking at customer outstanding and sub-agent outstanding. Pretty easy. We were sort of in the right place before when we come back to cash register reports. We can do this also from customer reports, but if I come into the cash register and go into register reports, I can come into register reports into customers. So, all right, so customers
the one
at the top
on
here.
where you charge from a certain day up till yesterday.
Okay.
And then the bottom
And the one that
very
we're
bottom
actually
one
looking
is
for
by a single
is,
So
oops,
the second from the bottom
knock at my
is-
microphone. The one that we're actually looking for is the customer trial balance or the customer Excel trial balance. So we're just going to do a trial balance in here. You can also do a trial balance from the statement section, whereas where you don't choose to update, you just do a statement run for all your customers, choosing not to update, which will give you the trial balance report. But in this case, we're just interested in. So I'm going to open that up. Okay, so trial balance as of the date 1st of the 7th, 2016. We're probably going to. We're probably going to not want to do last year. Obviously, we probably want to do this year. Now, there's not many customers in this, so it's going to be a very quick report. If I come down to view report, you'll see that the report pops up. Now, there's usually you would have hundreds of customers or something along those lines, but in this case, we've only got 4. That's fine, but it's going to show what they currently owe you and how that stretches out over the 30, 60 or 90 days. So from the current month, they owe you 109, but altogether here they are 114, $8.10, $19.90, and then you get this one, which is basically the total outstanding amount that customers owe to you. So that's the information you need at the end of the year, obviously. If customers are in credit, they'll appear in brackets, and that credit will affect how much money is owed to you, obviously, because they're in credit, and that takes it off. You can get a breakup of 30, 60, 90 monthly. You can choose to include accounts that are in credit. We might get one here if I do that. You can see here they're all in 0, so that's classed as credit. But yeah, there's probably a few here with credit, so there's 2 pages. So on and so forth. So that's including customers that are in credit, which is going to include your 0 balance account. And you can order those reports by customer code, or you can order those reports by sub-agent. And remember, what you're really interested in is the outstanding at the bottom, which is $147.05 owed to this particular shop. Okay, so the same thing basically for sub-agents. In sub-agent maintenance, sorry, not sub-agent maintenance, sub-agent statements. You just need to go to the reports tab. So when you open up sub-agent statements, you usually get into the weekly tab here. But what we're interested in is the reports tab. And from there, we're going to go to, just off the top of my head, not transaction report, subject, no. So view week for current balances for selected week. So basically, this is the balance that you can see from week to week. So you would be checking the last balance from the last week, but that's basically going to. I haven't got any sub-agents in this system, unfortunately, so you'll have to trust me. But normally I would choose a date here, view current balances for the selected week, and I would click on show reports, and that would give me the same report that basically I got from the customers before, the 30, 60 and 90 days, and how much is owed to me, or how much I might owe other people, but in this case it'll be how much is owed to the shop. So just backing up over the reports that we've covered today quickly before I let you go. It's been a nice long webinar again. And I'll keep an eye on these comments before I go to, see if anyone wants to have a look. But if I come into the cash register report, I've got my end of day report, which I did. and I came into takings report. I chose the dates which were for the full year, and then I did the report which gave us that A4 report, which was basically like a summary of everything for the year. Then we also covered the stock sales again, just to double check, as your accountant will want to. You come into register reports, and in register reports we went to not valuation, sales. We started off with sales profit and profitability for a given period, and then we had a look at the GST summary for a given period, and we also had a look at dissection sales, GST, government rebates for a given period. Pretty much all your accountant will need are definitely in those three reports. Then we went from here and we had a quick look at the valuation report, which will come back. So under the valuation report, we did a best cost, we excluded $0 items, and we did the valuation report as of now. And here's where we saw the stock on hand, and then we double checked on these stock items that seem to have negative on hands, and we changed those negative on hands by going into stock edit and using stock levels editing. We came across and we changed the on hand levels for the items that we found back to zero, so they because you don't invoice them in the system. Just to add to that, you can also, in dissection maintenance, under system maintenance, you can come to. Now I'm going to make noises so I drown out my colleagues. I'm sorry if this was a little bit hard to understand today, but I'm very interested in seeing if the computer is better at handling the broadcast, because I have been having problems with it skipping, and for those that have put up with these things in the past, I do thank you for that. In dissections, you also have an option on the dissection itself, so we might be talking about hubbed or touch or something along those lines that you don't want to include in your stock valuation, because those items you don't actually have in stock. It's all sold through the electronic transfer and stuff. Here you might want to exclude them from the valuation. So you're basically excluding the whole dissection, the whole stock range from the valuation report, because you don't actually have that as stock in the shop. That's something that you sell, but you don't actually have it in stock to sell. It's an electronic thing in the case of a touch and stuff like that, of course. And so you can, as I said, that would take stuff out of the valuation, and that would go further towards giving you a proper valuation report of what you've got in the shop. Of course, stock taking is the only real way of getting these valuation reports completely right, because someone's physically going out there and counting it. So we'll run through that stock taking in the next couple of days. I'll post another video to Facebook, not so much a webinar this time, just some few last minute directions on stock taking, whether you're doing it now before the end of the month or early into the next financial year. So we've done those reports, and then we came across to the register reports again, and we picked up the customer reports, where we could do a trial balance, and that trial balance basically told us which customers still had some outstanding debts to us. And we also ran sub-agents, or had a look at where we would run the sub-agent balance report, which would give us a balance report as per the period that we selected. So, I've talked too long as usual. I've bored you as much as I've helped some people, I hope. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments and I'll pick them up over the next couple of days. As I said, I'm going to post something along the lines of what we've done today about stock taking as well, to help you understand stock taking a little bit better. It's been a great year. I hope the next year is as fruitful as this year, and if not much more. And yes, thanks for coming today, and we'll talk again. Bye.